Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Lorraine Finlay, and I'm Australia's Human Rights Commissioner, joining you from Sydney, Australia. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands from which we're all meeting tonight. For myself in Sydney, that's the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. And I extend those respects to all First Nations people who are here this evening. The rapid acceleration of technology is truly a modern marvel. We now have artificial intelligence that can write poetry or teach our children. Facial recognition technology, or FRT, was used in 2018 in India to reunite nearly 3,000 children with their parents across just 4 days. The potential for technology to enhance humanity is enormous. However, there are some technologies which we must never grow to accept. Technologies whose application pose an unacceptable threat to humanity. Examples of these technologies are littered through science fiction, movies, and books, from Arnold Schwarzenegger's portrayal as the Terminator to the rogue AI known as HAL in 2001: A Space Odyssey. These killer robots are portrayed as bringing about the end to human life with cold disposition and robotic efficiency. This has previously been confined entirely to the realm of fiction. However, with the rapid development and deployment of artificial intelligence and facial recognition technology, I worry that the boundaries between fact and fiction are becoming increasingly blurred. One emerging technology that is really blurring these boundaries are lethal autonomous weapons systems, otherwise known as laws. Laws are weapons that independently select and attack targets without meaningful human control. They often operate via AI and FRT to go to a location, seek out a target, and execute an attack, all without human supervision or intervention. This technology will potentially rewrite how wars are conducted and presents enormous challenges for humanity. What particularly worries me is the lack of human oversight. In wartime, it's human decision making and morality that we rely on to prevent war crimes and to save lives. Let's consider a hypothetical. A law's drone is sent out to a location seeking to execute an attack on a target known to be in the area, driving a white sedan. The drone identifies a white sedan with words painted on the back windscreen and a red sash attached to the hood ornament and then to either side of the front windscreen, forming a V over the bonnet. This discrete data point is not understood by the drone, and it determines simply that there is a white sedan being driven by the target. The law's drone then executes its attack on the basis of AI and FRT without human intervention. As far as the machine is concerned, it has successfully executed an attack on a confirmed target. However, if we replay that hypothetical scenario, but include a human remotely monitoring the situation, we reveal a critical fact. Unlike the AI, the human monitor recognizes that the words on the back windscreen state "just married" in the native language, and that the red sash is commonly used to decorate a wedding car as part of a marriage ceremony. The human monitor is able to go beyond the discrete data points in isolation and to understand the additional context and its significance. Human judgment results in an intervention to delay the attack and to seek further confirmation. It is later revealed that the people driving the white sedan were in fact newlyweds and not the intended target. In this hypothetical scenario with human intervention, the attack is aborted and innocent lives are saved because it was a human that made the critical decision. Despite the very real risks that exist with laws, these weapons are already being used. The fast development of this technology has meant that there are currently insufficient checks and balances in place to prevent its misuse. There are reports that laws have been used in combat as early as March 2021, and that they've been used in the war between Russia and Ukraine. This is despite there being significant problems with this technology. Most noticeable is the technical inaccuracy of facial recognition technology in correctly identifying women or people from minority racial groups as compared with other people. Such inaccuracies in the underlying technologies come at a deadly expense when they're employed in this context. There are already concerns about how easily laws could trigger a new arms race or fuel domestic terrorism. With the rise of 3D printing and with generative AI now being able to effectively code programs, it isn't hard to imagine lone wolf operatives cheaply building and deploying laws to wreak havoc and take lives. Laws also change and challenge the well-established principles of warfare, in particular, jus in bello, one's rights within war. These rules guide conduct during warfare and seek to minimize the suffering that is inevitable in any conflict. While laws potentially violate each of the 4 principles of jus in bello, I want to focus particularly on the principles of distinction and proportionality. Inaccuracies in the underlying technology mean that laws may struggle to distinguish between combatants and civilians, which is essential to comply with the principle of distinction. And when it comes to determining questions of proportionality during war, well, this is an assessment that should only ever be made by a human. To allow a machine to determine proportionality in warfare is fundamentally wrong. It isn't hard to imagine scenarios where laws actively violate the Geneva Convention, but it is hard to understand where the accountability would reside in such a situation. It is this unprecedented risk to human life and dignity that leads me, in my role as Australia's Human Rights Commissioner, to see the urgency in calls for limitations and prohibitions on lethal autonomous weapon systems. This technology violates common principles of warfare and poses an unacceptable risk to humanity. I'm not alone in this call, as countries, civil society, and tech companies have all raised concerns about the development of laws. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres called giving machines the discretion to take human life as morally repugnant. Fully autonomous weapons cross the threshold of acceptability in their present format, and they have to be regulated. The risk is that the development of this technology will quickly outpace international diplomacy, which is particularly critical at this point in time when we're beset with so many tensions in the world. We must all do more to add our voices and expertise to ensuring that lethal autonomous weapon systems are tightly regulated or even prohibited entirely. Killer robots are now very, very real. We must do everything in our power to ensure that we do not allow this technology to surpass our humanity. Thank you very much.